Right on time. How's it going there, man?
Right on time. You're right on time. Yeah, you are. Darren,
Yes, sir.
how you
Do I
doing,
do
man?
I call you Mike, Michael, or Mad Anthony? What's your preference?
Call me anything you'd like, pal. No, you call me Mike.
Mike, thank you for taking the time. Good day for you, aside from having to talk to me.
No, I'm busy. I'm busy as hell right now. We're getting ready to go out and play some shows pretty soon. So obviously, I always got stuff I got to tie up at home and finish up and make sure that this is good for the wife. And because it never fails. As soon as I leave to go out on tour, I get the call. Hey, something happened with this, and what do I do about that? So it's just all the part honeydew and just part stuff I got to take care of before we take off to play some shows.
The honeydew list. I do want to ask you about all that because my wife and I saw one of the Vegas shows a couple of weeks ago with Trombone and
Oh,
Shorty.
okay.
But before we get to that, Mad Anthony's Cafe is doing great. And the mustard was reissued. And a couple of years ago, you came out the mild sauce.
Yeah.
So, where can we find this besides your website? Are there any restaurants or chains that carry your
Well,
sauces?
there's a restaurant chain in the South called Wild Wing Cafe, but that's mostly my barbecue sauce and my mustard. They carry it, and they also have menu items, and they're doing very well with it. They're like it's one of these chains that hasn't been around for very long, but they're really starting to spread out now. They've got like over 40 to 50 locations now, and they're growing. And they love my sauce, and it's a pretty cool partnership. Other than that, we're looking to get into quite a few stores now because I really was doing this kind of for fun,
Hmm.
and you could get it off my website, and that was basically it. And a couple little boutique hot sauce stores. And now all of a sudden I've got a little bit more time, and uh, so I'm trying to we're trying to expand it a bit now. But you can always find it on the Mad Anthony Cafe website in my store there. And yeah, like you said, yeah, we had a little problem with the pandemic going on find with our glass distributor for our mustard, and thank God we're back into production now, and we're taking orders again, and that's all happening, so we're all good there.
Who's the team behind this great brand?
It's not a large team really. It's myself, and I recently, who I think you've met over the internet, my daughter Elisha. I've recently just hired her on. She's done a lot of marketing work for other people, and I figured, that why not to have my daughter, and I give her a good incentive to go out there and hustle the product and all that stuff. And so she's doing really well. And then Brad Starks is actually my other man behind the scenes. So it's not not a big company as far as myself and employees. I do have a couple of co-packers, one here on the West Coast and one in Chicago that make the sauce for us. And then we have a major distribution. So you know I guess less people, less you got to worry about. The communication's better
Sure.
between us three, and everything's working really good as far as right now. So where we're at right now, you know, it's fine the way it's working.
Is it the kind of thing where because you have more time, you're starting to eye other products that you could do under the line, or do you just want to have a few things that you do super well?
Well, I just want to have a few things I do super well. We do have a couple of products under the Mad Anthony sauce moniker, I guess you could say, that we're looking at doing. Nothing I can tell you about right now, but
Sure.
they're going to be very cool. And but yeah, I just got more time to dedicate to doing it when I'm on the road and I'm gone or whatever. I like to be really kind of let me silence that. I like to be really hands on with everything that's going on in the company, and not just the guy who goes, "Oh yeah, I'm the face or I'm the name," and let
Right.
everybody else run it. So that way, I guess, I don't know. It's a little more satisfying when I can be actually a part of everything that's going on.
Was there ever a brainstorm of doing a Jack Daniels infused sauce?
Uh, no, not really. I mean, a lot of people do Jack Daniels infused sauce. I mean, to me, Jack Daniels is meant to be tasted the way the way I've always tasted, and that's kind of right from the bottle. So, I've tasted uh, Jack Daniel's sauce products before, and I mean, I really don't. I mean, there a couple of them are good, but I don't really taste the Jack Daniels in it myself. You know,
Yeah.
and so I figure if you're going to do something like that, you might as well make it really, get the flavor out of it.
As a person who covers not just music but food and drinks, I've
Yeah.
interviewed one of the brand reps for Jack Daniels a bunch of times, and I could never get a straight answer out of him as to whether or not you had an endorsement with Jack Daniels.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I never. It was kind of funny the way the whole Jack Daniels thing came about. We put together a Jack Daniels base because I imbibed quite a bit of Jack Daniels in my
Sure.
early years, and it was more of just like a novelty thing. And when we decided to build the second Jack Daniels base, which I decided, well, I might as well build a base that plays and sounds decent rather than just have something that looks like a Jack Daniels bottle I'm hopping around on stage with.
Right.
We decided to go to the company and ask for their blessing, because if I was going to do it that way and be using it, I wanted to make sure I didn't have any problems with the company. And they were totally behind it or whatever. I don't, it isn't really like an endorsement though. I mean, they're happy that I would use the bass and have it out there, but I really was not one to like endorse alcohol really, or say, hey, this is Jack Daniels, slurp it down like I do. It's fine that I'm doing it, and it was like a thing that I wanted to just keep for myself, and the company obviously was fine with that too.
But it must be an honor in a way that the only two artists that are really synonymous with Jack Daniels are you and Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, I don't know if they still have it up there now, but years ago, you walk into their corporate offices, they had a picture of Frank there on the wall, and they had a picture of me with my bass on the wall there too. Just was quite an honor.
I can imagine. So when I saw you a couple of weeks ago in Vegas, Jason Bonham was wearing a Mad Anthony's Cafe shirt throughout the gig. We also saw some Cabo Wabo signage and shirts. We saw Sammy's other brands represented. Why are your sauces not carried in Cabo Wabo?
Well, you know what? It's the whole Cabo Wabo thing, and especially the Vegas thing that we're doing. That's more of a Sammy Hagar thing, really. He's carried my sauces in his beach bar cafes that he has in some of the airports around the country and stuff like that. But the whole Cabo Wabo thing, like I said, especially for Vegas, that's more of a Sammy Hagar branding thing. And I'm actually talking to the people over at the Strat in Las Vegas about carrying my sauces there while we're playing there. So I'd keep it kind of separate from that whole thing. I don't know. Sammy probably doesn't want the competition from me.
Figures. I mean, it must be hard to be like the second best businessman in a band, but it's a pretty high ranking number two.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sammy, he's like very much involved in, and has been for years in his tequila and rum and all that stuff. And so I focused when I'm out playing music, I focus more on the music, and not promoting really any products out there.
Well, so bringing up that Vegas gig that my wife and I saw, where you brought out Trombone Shorty,
yeah,
I was blown away by you on Superstition because it showed R&B chops that I didn't really hear much of over the years. Did you have to practice to learn that song, or did you just always know it?
No, that's a song that's always, it's been kind of a standard for years. I started actually playing it. There was a band called Beck Bogert and Appice a long time ago, and that was a song that they played on their recorded on their first album. And so bands that I was playing in, and Van Halen also, when we were playing that song. So it's pretty much of a standard song. It was interesting the way we did with Trombone Shorty, because we did it more of like kind of a cross between that and Stevie Wonder style, and it's just I play a lot of blues and stuff, and it was kind of a funky thing, and I don't get to jam with many musicians like like trombone shorty, playing brass and stuff. And it was a lot. It was a lot of fun, actually.
In that show, we also saw you sing lead on Ain't Talking About Love, which solidifies the legacy right there. Were you singing in the early years of Van Halen at sound checks, like if Dave wasn't around?
No, not back then really as much. Every now and then I might sing something if Dave couldn't show up to a sound check, but that was just to like, cover where we were at in a song if we were, going over something. But I never really started doing that much until after Sammy joined the band, because Sammy doesn't go do sound checks very often. And so when we were there, and then we would have people come, like VIPs come to sound checks, like you saw in Las Vegas. And it's be kind of boring after a while to just see Eddie, Alex, and myself. Well, I mean, we're fun to watch, but so we would work up a few songs from the early Van Halen era and play them for those fans, and I would sing them.
And your vocal chops have amazingly held up over the years. Are you a vocal warm-ups guy?
Yeah, don't give me the hoax on her. No, I tell people that I grew up in a family with like 5 kids, and so we were always yelling and screaming at each other growing up. And I take care of my voice. I don't smoke, and I try to take care of it that way. I don't drink as much as I used to in the early days, obviously. But there are a few little things you can do to help take care of your voice, and and luckily, it's lasted this long. I'm kind of surprised, actually.
Well, you're not bringing the songs down any keys, which is very impressive. One of the rumors is gurgling Jack Daniels is good for the voice. Is that true?
I can say now, no. When I was 24 years old on the road, I'd say, "Oh yeah," But no, drinking any kind of alcohol, what it does is, releases your inhibition, and it makes you sing maybe harder than you should at times. And back in the early days, I did a lot of stupid things. If I would have a problem with my voice, like if I was a little hoarse, I'd have my technician on the side of the stage hand me a piece of a lemon, and I'd bite into a lemon so that I could sing. All the wrong things to do to get you through the night. And as you get a little bit older, that besides that stuff not really working anymore, you find that you can really damage your vocal cords. So I decided to just kind of like go about it the correct way.
So
Other than that, drinking a little Jack Daniels every now and then,
sure. So, recapping what we've spoken about so far, Mad Anthony's Cafe, it's a steady operation that you're very hands-on with. Sammy looks to be doing like 3 to 6 gigs a month, something like that. So you keep pretty busy with all that. There's been rumors of you writing a memoir. Is that something that's still on the table?
I have people after me all the time about stuff like that. Obviously, they somebody wants to get another perspective from one of the original Van Halen guys on all the dirt from the band. And I don't know if I'm, ready to like come out with something like that. Obviously, it wouldn't be the dirt like some people would want to hear it, because I'm not that kind of person. A lot of stuff that went on back then is like, what is understood between the band. It's the secret brotherhood of, what's on the road stays on the road,
Sure.
type stuff. But I think possibly at some point I'll probably do something. I'm just not really ready to do it quite yet. I also have a couple people after me to do some recipe books with my hot sauces too, which I've kind of been thinking about. I really don't have the time right at the moment, but I wouldn't mind doing something like that too.
So in some form, a book from you, whether it's about Van Halen or recipes, is very, very likely.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, I don't know, very, very likely, somewhat likely. When I slow down a little bit to find the time to actually do it properly.
And then speaking of Vegas, every time Dave announced the Vegas residency, there was like, "Oh, Michael Anthony's coming." I've heard the rumors were you were supposed to show up at that. Was that on the table, or is that something you can't say?
No, I'll tell you the original one that he did, the original residency he did there. I was actually going to show up, but then all of a sudden, unfortunately, we some circle shows came up and I couldn't make it out there. And then again, I was also contemplating going out there this last time when he was supposed to do it over New Year's, and then for whatever reasons, he says COVID, he canceled all his shows out there.
There was also rumors that when he and Sammy toured together in the early 2000s, that you were ready and willing to pop up with Dave on stage there as well.
Yeah, in fact, when I first came out, when I did my first show on that tour and guested with Sammy, uh, Sammy and I were both kind of pounding on his door, on his back, his dressing room door, saying, "Come on, Dave, come on!" We thought we'd all go out there and do "You Really Got Me" or something, and have a big thing. And Dave, I think, kind of got a little bit shy about doing it at that point, so we never were able to get him out there to join us on stage. It would have been fun.
Well, all that said, that's to make it sound like what we've heard over the years, that you've always been very diplomatic and nice. The early years of Van Halen, were you this diplomatic and nice, or is this something that you evolved into being?
I kind of started that way, but I evolved to being that way even more. Everybody used to call me Switzerland because I just chose not to get involved in a lot of the heavy drama that eventually started up with Van Halen. I mean, I'm in it to play music and have a great time doing it, and when it becomes not fun, either you stop doing it, or and there were times where it wasn't fun. It seemed like work because of everything that was going on internally with the band, and egos and all that stuff. And thank God, what Sammy and I are doing now, what we actually started with Chickenfoot back in 2007, I think it was, or 9.
Yeah.
Was just to play music and do it for what we got into it for in the first place. Was to just have fun and hang out with your buddies. We don't do the girls anymore because I'm married, so but and we're still doing it now. None of it's money driven. We've made money and attained certain success or whatever. And the great thing about that is it does allow you to be able to just do what you want to do and have fun with it. And luckily people are still enjoying it.
Well, down to the last two questions, which are easy and Van Halen free questions. The first one is, what's your home music setup like? Do you have a jam room or a studio or anything like that?
I'm actually sitting in my home music setup right now. I wish I could flip my laptop around to show you, but no, I've got a little amp and a couple. I live here in Southern California at the beach, and the house that I live in does not really lend itself to having any kind of a jam room. I've got a little kind of combination office room. Looking around, I can tell you I got a couple pinball machines in one corner here. I'm looking out my door to my balcony here, and I can see the beach here a block away, and I'm right on the water here in the bay. I got a couple of amps right here and a couple of my guitars sitting here, and that's all I have here at home. I do actually have a warehouse in the Inland Empire a little bit more, where I have more of a setup to where if I want to, get more serious about jamming or whatever. But other than that, it's just very simple here at my house.
Cool. And my last question for you: do you have a TV recommendation you could pass along if we need a new show to start or binge or whatever the term is?
Oh, I thought you were talking about what kind of TV to buy. Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I don't watch a lot of TV actually. Boring enough. Most of the TV I watch is the news, and I even hate watching that these days. But I mean, I know there's a lot of good stuff on Netflix and whatever. Everybody's always going, "Oh man, have you seen that? Have you seen this Tombstone? Have you seen that?" And I'm like, "No, I got to check it out." And I end up not really ever checking it out. The only time I really watch TV, though, if you really want to know, all you car nuts out there, I always watch the Barrett Jackson auction when it's in town. And they just finished the one in Palm Beach the other weekend, and I always have the TV on watch. I'm a big car guy. Before I met Hagar, I owned one car, and now I have that's what Hagar brought. He pissed my wife off a bit.
Well, everything I'm hearing is totally on brand with what I've read and heard, and I appreciate your time. I'm glad to see that you're keeping busy on a variety of projects that interest you. You're not doing things because you're worried about a cash-in, and you're still the same old Mike that we love.
Yeah, that's me. If you see me on the street, we'll stop into the bar and have a beer together or something. No, yeah, we actually, our band, The Circle, we recorded a new album last September in Nashville, which is really good. I'm really excited about this album. I think it's some of the best stuff, music-wise and vocally, that I've done since Van Halen. And we shot videos for it this past month, and so tell everybody can be looking out for that very soon. The album's going to be coming out probably mid-year. And we got videos for a few of the songs that we'll be shooting out before that. So pretty excited about that. And then we'll be on tour in June, taking out George Thorogood.
We'll hear some of those songs from the Circle album on the Thorogood dates, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time and have a wonderful rest of the day there. Good luck with the honeymoon list.
Okay. Okay. Good talking to you, Darren. Have a good one. We'll see you guys out there.
Paltrocast.